Welcome back to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay, the number one source for competitive Legends of Runeterra news and information. If you're looking for the best decks to play right now, be sure to check us out on Twitter at Master Runeterra or in our Discord. And if you want to take the next step in leveling up your game, check out our Runeterra team on Patreon, where we do weekly learning calls and one-on-one coaching. Now strap in and grab yourself some Boro snacks, because we are about to start Mastering Runeterra.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Babe. We've got a great show for you today. I got a bunch of new cards out. Very exciting. We're going to go over all of those. What's been doing good, what has not been, what we've been playing, what to play on the ladder, what the metagame looks like, all that good stuff. First up, though, we're going to give a shout out to our sister podcast, Runeterra Radio. If you have not checked them out, make sure you go do so for more awesome Runeterra content. Blevins and Saucy are the absolute best. Fucking love them. So go give them some love. Tell them we sent you. Make sure you hit them up. You can find them on YouTube, Spotify, all the usual places. Runeterra Radio. Okay, with that said, Bay, how do you like Malphite?
Not much. I don't like him much. Okay.
What?
So the joke there is that on my Twitch stream, I have gotten asked how good Malphite is probably 300 times in the 2 days that he's been out.
301 now?
I think it's yeah. God damn it! I think it's literally every 45 seconds someone new jumps into the stream and goes, "Hey, how good's Malphite?" Or "What's the best Malphite deck?" or something. And every time I have to be like, there is no good Malphite deck, my friend. The cake is a lie. It's not there. You just can't do it. But yeah, there are some other stuff that is really good in the new set and a lot to be excited about, I think.
Yeah, when the cards were spoiled, we were both a little lukewarm to it. We're like, okay, there's some stuff. Maybe.
Zilean looks cool, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't really, was like, man, this might be a real dud of a release. Fast forward to literally 10 minutes into the cards being live on Runeterra, and holy cow, there's some powerful stuff in there. Where do we even begin to start unpacking the hits of this new set?
All right, so before we talk about the hits, let's talk about the duds. Because I want to just get those out of the way before I rant and rave about my new favorite card. The duds, or maybe our expectations. So my expectation was Zilean was going to be pretty good, but might not have a home. Malphite was going to be pee-pee poo-poo doo-doo, not good. You can't play him. And Irelia is going to be very boring, medium-ish champ, only good with the Zilean MF, right? That was in my head, the champions. That was all I had. And then a couple other cards I thought were pretty cool, but nothing really stood out to me so much.
Same.
What about you? Is that about where you were at?
Yeah.
I was very disappointed with Irelia. She's one of my favorite champs in League, and I saw her design, and I was just like, this is boring. I don't care about attacking with 1/1s. Who cares? But then the cards are released, and let me tell you what, I played Irelia for the first time and went, hot damn, this is such a good time. It's not that Irelia herself is so interesting. She is. She's kind of she's a lot more interesting than you would get just from reading the card, right? Just from looking at her.
Yeah.
I'm oh wow, she makes some 1/1s when you attack. Ooh. And then she can switch with one of them. I guess that's pretty cool. And it is, to be fair. But the new cards surrounding Irelia are so cool and interesting that it makes Irelia, and they're very powerful, and it makes Irelia so interesting. The 1/1 elusive with a tune that when you recall it, it draws a card. Insane. Especially when you combine that with lead and follow, the 2-mana fast that bounces something to your hand and then gives you the Blade Surge card for 1.
I think that card is actually busted. I think, maybe let's start there. Yeah, so the cards that surround her, I think, are actually maybe even better than she is. I mean, they definitely, if they didn't exist, she would, I think, still be what we thought, kind of okay. Yeah. But the cards that surround her have been real busted. So first off, the 2-mana return a unit to your hand and then get the Blade Surge. That I think might be the best card in that deck. It's just absurdly powerful. You get to protect
so good.
your units, and then the blade surge on your opponent's turn when you're attacking them on their turn. And then you have Azir and other, you have the landmark that makes
Inspiring Marshal, I think is what his name is, the 5-mana guy.
Yeah. Crazy. Just nuts. So now they can't kill your stuff. You can combo with other things. There's and then there's the 4-mana 3/3 that Blade
Dance 2? Yeah.
Blade Dance 2. That card's insane also. That card's really impressive. Those two cards I think I like more than the champ. They just do an insane amount of work.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the 1-mana Elusive Attune is a kind of a linchpin of the deck. The deck, by the way, that we're referring to is Azir Irelia, which is the breakout deck of day 1, I think.
Yeah.
And then I'll get into the day 2 breakout deck that I think, because we're on day 2-ish, day 2-3 right now as of recording. I'll get to what I think the breakout deck of this day is later. But right now, Irelia Azir just curb stomping people left and right day 1. It's really good, incredibly fun. But something I think people will come to realize is I think Syncopate is a trap. I think
that's the swap to...
Yes, 2-mana burst swap to allies. I think it's a trap. It's only good in a field that has a lot of targeted removal. If there's no Vengeances and Thermo Beams running around, then I think it's really bad. If there is, then it's perhaps pretty good. I saw people putting 3 copies in Lee Sin, and I was like, no, friend, just run counter spells. That's not where you want to be.
Interesting. So I have the opposite sort of take on the card. Okay. I thought it was pee-pee-poo-poo coming in. And I was like, this card's why are you putting this in your deck? I didn't realize it actually switched the targets of spells that are targeting it, though, which is, a useful... Yeah. But the way that... so another card we haven't talked about that's insane in that deck is the 1-mana 1/1 that gets +1/+1 each time a unit comes in. Sparring Students... Okay.
I built the deck, right? The deck had been built, right? But everyone was running the 2/1 elusive guy that gets pumped. Greenglade Duo, I believe it's called. And I played one game with Greenglade Duo and cut it. And then I saw Sparring Student, and I was like, why is nobody playing this card? I put in 3, never looked back. That card routinely gets up to a 10/10.
Yeah.
Routinely. And it's very good in the mirror because it can block soldiers every turn. Because its health regenerates, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's a 3/3 and you block a 2/2, then it becomes a 1/1, and then it pumps itself back up. So it can just keep blocking multiple times. Sparring Student, nuts. Now, Syncopate, sometimes you get the Syncopate kill a Sparring Student.
And Azir. Azir's another option. And so you play some elusive units, you tend to go very wide, and so it's not overly difficult to just make your Sparring Student or Azir have 8-10 power, and then all of a sudden you just swap it out for a unit that hasn't been blocked and smoke them in the face. Or really screw up their blocking and just put your big unit. I just did it against Zoe Asol. They had a bunch of huge lifesteal units, and they made some blocks that would be pretty good. And then Sparring Student just crushed that Radiant Guardian and blew out your whole team.
Sucks to suck. Yeah.
Yeah, and so going for lethal with it, using it as a pseudo counter spell, I've found it to be quite useful. Whether or not it has a place in the deck, I don't know. I play 1 of. Also, I saw someone.
1.
Yeah,
I think 1's fine. I don't want to play more. I saw people running 3.
3. I played against an opponent that had 3, and they drew and cast all 3 of them, and we were playing the mirror, and I just blew them out. Just blew them because they didn't do anything.
Nice cards, bro.
Yeah.
If it doesn't kill you, it just doesn't do enough.
A 1 of those real nice, especially
I the 1 of.
We talk about this in tournaments, right? Where you have 1 judgment or whatever, and it's oh man, all of a sudden now it's maybe they have to block with their 3/1 on your stupid 1/1 blade because they don't want you to
every soldier in every blade because you're damn, if they have Syncopated, just die here, right? And I love that. I think people will come around to more Homecomings. I'm running 3 Homecomings, and I'm pretty happy every single time I draw it.
Yeah, I've been running your list as well, and I've been pretty happy with Homecoming. It just does all kinds of work. Just a never-ending amount of things it does. One of the ways to beat the deck is to kind of go bigger and faster. So there's an Azir. What is it? The list that I was playing yesterday. What's the
Darius?
Darius?
I have seen people cutting Darius recently.
Oh, really?
It's Azir Noxus aggro, essentially.
Yeah, because I cut Azir for Draven, so it's not even that. But anyway, the deck is like you're saying, Noxus aggro, and it has a pretty good Irelia Azir matchup. You just like hit them harder and faster. But Homecoming,
go over the top with burn.
Yeah, but Homecoming does a real good job of stemming any bleeding, turning tempo. And so, cards are a lot of good for me.
Yeah, it helps out a lot of the bad matchups, like the mono Fiora decks that are running around specifically to prey on Irelia. And also, if you listeners at home haven't figured this out yet, the reason they nerfed Fiora was so that Irelia could see play.
Oh, really? You think that's
3 games into the expansion?
You think that's why?
Blade Dance. Yeah, I cast Blade Dance. Like I cast Irelia and had like the Blade Dance in my hand, and my opponent played Fiora, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, probably that's not the only reason, right? Fiora's been very dominant for a very long time. But, I mean, the nerf kind of came out of nowhere for us. We're a bit like, whoa, really? Like, we wanted the deck to get touched, but that seemed like it really put Fiora out of the meta.
Interesting.
And I think it's because they wanted Irelia to see play. They wanted her to be successful. But yeah, you see a lot of like mono Fiora decks running around just trying to take advantage of all the Azir Irelia decks, and then you just cast Homecoming when their Fiora's on 3 and they just lose the game. They're like, damn, like that's pretty good.
If you're playing against a Fiora deck, be very careful about the token generators like Azir and Dais that you put into play. You might want to just keep those in your hand, because I slammed an Azir and they slammed Fiora, and I was like, oh, I just can't attack. I just can't attack here. I'm just gonna level up. I'm just gonna level up their Fiora super fast for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually what I try to do is I wait until because they don't kill you very fast. The mono Fiora decks, they don't kill you very fast. I'm talking about the Demacia Freljord one in particular. The one with Zed is a different story, because Zed will just like beat your ass and you'll die. But the actual mono Fiora one, not very good at like killing you. So you can afford to just like wait
and just go for one big turn. Or 2 big turns.
Wait and go for a big turn, or like wait till you draw like Homecoming or something, or wait till you build up enough of these like return your own unit spells, and just you just kill them in one turn. You play like Inspiring Marshal on their turn, right? And then you go to your turn, and you're just like, okay, I haven't attacked yet. I have Dais and Azir on the board now, and like Marshall, but I haven't attacked yet. You play like Irelia, you Blade Dance, whatever. They block, you Blade Dance again. They block, you Blade Dance again. You bounce the guy they block with, and then you attack again, and you bounce the guy they block. Like, yeah, like there is a lot of play against it. Decks I've seen do very well against Azir Irelia is like the one you mentioned, the Azir burn list. Overwhelm does quite well. Scargrounds sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not the counter everyone thinks it is.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, Scarground's so good. I don't think I've lost to it yet.
Yeah, it's like in theory you go, oh yeah, it seems really good, but like in practice, I just kill you. Like I don't know what to like say about it. Like in practice, I play Inspiring Marshal and I just kill your guys anyway. The one thing that can get you is like I've lost when they cast like double Death Lotus and Ice Shard, and I'm like, okay, yeah, some people, by the way, are playing that in Draven Ezreal now. They're playing Death Lotus, the Katarina, the 2 mana with everything that attacks. That blew me out. I was like, got him. And I attacked with like everything, and they're like, Death Lotus. And Draven Ezreal blew me out. Yeah, I lost that game so hard, but you're kind of like, all right, yeah, you deserve it. You put Death Lotus in your deck. But yeah, people are out here teching against the Azir Irelia. That was by far the day 1 deck, right?
Yeah. So real quick before I'm interested, because I don't actually know what you're going to say about what your day 2 deck is. But so day 1, I wasn't on Irelia. I was trying all the other things: TLC, Thresh Nasus, Easy Draven, mostly losing to Irelia.
Classics.
And then that's also okay. Screw this. I picked up Irelia, just crush. By the end of day 1, everyone else was playing Irelia, and I was like, lots of mirrors, whatever, it's fine. And then also lots of counter decks. I was like, okay, I wasn't climbing as hard. Day 2, I think I picked up the aggro deck, the Noxus aggro deck, and I was doing well. And then all of a sudden the Irelia matchups just like disappeared. and like just no one was playing Irelia all of a sudden. I was like, what is going on here? Because I wanted to get queued into Irelia, and it was just like gone all of a sudden. Made it up to Diamond, and then I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna go back to playing Irelia then, and like just queued up Irelia, and it was just like everyone had forgotten from day one, and I was just crushing people again.
This is good, huh?
I was like, what just happened?
So day one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, real interesting. That like, I don't know if that's like small sample size or if the meta really just does change that quickly, and people are like, I'm part of this deck. Next thing. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there before. I'm interested to hear what you got for day two.
It was a poorly timed yawn.
Sleepy Bay.
Okay, so things that like did really well on day one: Irelia and Fearless Hunter. The 4/3 with Fearsome from Shurima that grants something vulnerable. Like that card's about exactly as good as we expected it to be.
So good.
It's insane. And it makes some really like interesting forks on like turn 3 and 4. Things that didn't perform very well was like Zilean.
Yeah.
It's like a good card, but there's just no home for him right now. And people are trying like Zilean Nasus, and it's like fine, but Thresh just seems to super outperform, especially with all the Azir decks right now, because it's just like an auto Thresh level up.
Yeah, so I have some thoughts on Zilean. One of my biggest problems with him is that, so like I was playing a game, I had multiple Zileans, I leveled my Zilean, and then I cast my Zilean spell on my Zilean to keep him alive, and then I still killed him one more time, so Zilean was gone. I had a leveled Zilean, but like he died, and then like I just had like no cards in hand, and was just like, I'm just totally effed here. I'm out of gas, and if I draw a Zilean off the top, like it's not gonna do anything because I don't have any cards to like make anything awesome happen. And so like the fail rate just seems super high. It's like, first off, you have to like, you play him and he's okay, and then like you have to get 2 time bombs. He has to see the 2 time bombs. It's not even just like play the 2 time bombs. He has to see them, which makes it way more difficult. And see them explode. And then they have to like, not kill him. And then you have to have a bunch of awesome stuff to do with him to make it worthwhile afterwards. And so like, it's just so much. And like the reward at the end isn't like, hey, I win. Because a lot of times if you go through that much effort to make something happen, it should be like, I win the game, Like Lysandra, you like put in all the effort and then you get Watcher, then you win the game. Whereas Zilean, put all the effort, you flip a
Zoe.
Yeah, or Zoe. Exactly. And you flip them, and they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just kill him, right? You play some stuff, they're like, okay, well, now I'll kill him. Go to your turn. Go get your stuff back. Go find another Zilean. Try to do that all over again. Like, not quite good enough, I think.
I like him as just like a 2-drop. He's like a lease, right? Like, just kind of high. Like, he's not bad. He's not ever like bad on 2. It's like 1/4 that has like an immediately relevant ability and predict. You get time bombs in your deck, which is like objectively just good cards. Like a time bomb is just like a really good card, right? It draws a card.
No, it's good. It's a good card, but it's not like super impressive.
It's not like, oh my god! But if you could play 3, you'd play 3 in a Shurima deck. Like, it's just insane.
Probably true.
So I think the mindset of the player base just has to shift from like Zilean is my like win condition and what my deck does. Like my deck is a Zilean deck to my deck has Zilean.
Yeah.
And that's an avenue I can take, right? Like your deck with Elise in it is not an Elise deck. Your deck just has Elise because she's a good card on her own, and sometimes she snowballs and flips and you win the game. Maybe like Zoe, but like taken down a notch. You know what I mean? Like Zilean can win the game if not answered. Same with like Elise or something, but not quite to the extent that Zoe can. But you trade that for being more immediately relevant when he hits the battlefield. I think he's still a very strong unit. We haven't really seen a home. What we would need for Zilean to be very good is like predict or landmarks need to be a bit better, maybe. But you also just need a deck that isn't champion focused, I feel. Where just like, okay, I need a good statted 2-drop that does something good for me. You just throw in Zilean, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think he
does pick up that champ slot.
I think you kind of like nailed it there. Predict is like, everyone's like throwing predict cards in to try and find those time bombs and stuff, and like predict's like not very exciting. Like
not that good.
If you had a way to like imagine like, I don't know, you've like had an easy way to tutor time bombs into your hand. It's like, okay, like that's pretty good. It's still, but even in that case where you're always flipping him, it's like, yeah, it's good. It's like still not even like insane though. Like Zoe,
not that good.
Compared to Zoe, like Zoe's just insane. Star Chart's so freaking good. Story's absurd. So I think that's one of the things that's missing.
Yeah. Like if you could, okay, let's look at the predict cards, right? Like the 2-mana 2/3 that says predict. People love this card.
I mean,
I've
it's good.
hated this card forever. I think
Yeah.
it's doo-doo. It's bad. It's a 2/3 for 2 and doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's change the card's text. This is how I know it's not good. Let's change the card's text in a Zilean deck to 2 mana. When I enter the battlefield, put a time bomb on top of my deck, which is exactly what you're predicting for, right? Let's just assume you always have Zilean on 2 and you play the 2/3 afterwards. And it says, put a time bomb on top of my deck. I still don't think I'd play that card.
Yeah, I mean, I played it in that deck. Like, you have to. But it's not exciting.
Yeah. It just, and that's the problem is like, if you're building a Zilean deck, you like, and by that I mean a deck that's focused around playing, flipping, and taking advantage of Zilean, you have to play these not very good cards to surround him with. Whereas like Zoe, you don't have to play Zoe with anything, right? Zoe hits the field. This game is about Zoe now, and she can just run away with the game and generate value all on her own. Zilean can kind of do that, but not quite to the extent. And you have to find time bombs. Zoe finds the star charts on her own. So you either just play Zilean as a 2-drop that has like some cool returns and sometimes wins the game, or you play a Zilean deck with all these bad cards. And so if you're like, Zilean thing doesn't work out because 1, he's pretty vulnerable. 2, it's not all that likely you'll hit 2 time bombs and explode them before A, you like Zilean gets killed, or B, you die.
Yeah.
Like you could just like lose the game, right? I don't know. I don't think Zilean's payoff is not worth playing bad cards.
Yep. 100%.
That's basically what I'm trying to get across here.
Yeah, you try to put together a synergy of cards, but the cards on their own are quite bad, and then when you put them together to do something, it's not powerful enough.
Yeah, like it is powerful. Do not get me wrong. Like Zilean flipping, tutoring time bombs and stuff, that's powerful. It's not powerful enough. It just isn't.
Yeah. Like, have you seen? I've yet to see. I've played with and against Zilean a bunch of times. I've yet to see someone flip it and ride it to victory. I haven't seen it.
I have lost with flip Zilean twice. I've only flipped Zilean twice. I've lost both times. I just flip him and go, well, I'm not doing anything here, so I just lose. Like,
gotta kill him, bro. It's blades.
Yeah. Like one time I flipped Zilean and my opponent went, okay, Irelia, blade dance. And I was like, oh, I'm dead. Like, you know. And then the other time, like I flipped Zilean, had no resources left, and just lost.
Oh, okay. So you flipped Zilean and lost. Sorry, I thought you were saying that you've lost to a flipped Zilean.
No, I flipped Zilean twice and lost both times.
Yeah, same.
Which sucks.
Speaks volumes.
I do think Zilean is a good card. Like objectively, 2-mana 1/4 that predicts when it enters the battlefield and does the time bomb things is just a good card. Is it a good champion? Maybe not. I think again, you'd really have to have a deck that needs to fill its 2-drop slot, isn't super reliant on a second champion, right? Like maybe it's a 1-champ deck and then you just throw in Zilean because why not? And does things outside of Zilean. It's going to be very hard to make a very strong Zilean focused deck.
I mean, like, I don't know. Is Zilean even good? So, like, let's talk about, like, the 2/3 for 2 predict. You know? Card's bad. Mm-hmm. Imagine Zilean on turn 6. Ugh. Turn 5. Ugh. Turn 4. Ugh.
Yeah. Like, it's just, to be fair, most 2-drops on turn 5 or 6 are bad, right?
I mean, Zoe's still insane. Elise still does work.
That's true.
Or some other good 2-drops.
Does still, like, possibly find you what you need. Like, I think predict later in the game is more powerful.
The 2-mana blade dance thing, you're still like, cool. Gonna activate all my stuff.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's not good.
I think he's Kindred. I think he's 2-drop Kindred.
Oh no, not Kindred.
I think Kindred's better. I'd rather see Kindred on turn 5.
Oh no, poor Zilean. It's entirely possible that that's correct. It would make me very sad because I think it's a very cool card. But it's entirely possible that's correct.
Oh, 100% cool card. Yeah, 100,000,000% totally fucking agree.
Yeah. Was the card the card I was second most excited about, actually. The first card I was most excited about was Cheerian Sumpworker. The PNZ 2-drop that turns into Sumpworker.
Let's talk about that.
I was stoked about that. So 2-mana, 1/2 elusive. When you play a second one, it obliterates the first one, and you transform all allied copies of the card into Sumpworks Posse, which is a 4/2 elusive for 2. That when it attacks, deals 1 damage to all your opponent's things, and your opponent, it gangplanks them. It's sick. It's a really cool build around card. And so the first thing I did with it was throw it in an Aphelios deck with iterative improvement and 3 gifts from beyond so I could crescendo it out. And it was actually pretty good because I played 3 copies of Tri-Beam.
Sure.
And
The
yeah,
moon
so
weapons.
all the guns, yeah, all the moon weapons, activate your Tri-Beam, and then you can play like the Solari Priestess, Sump Dredger, Get Excited, Aphelios himself, like all these 3 drops trigger. And it was like the deck was pretty good. Shurian Supworker, very strong. Very strong. Um, it's not like, okay, I have a Supworks posse, I win the game, but like 2 copies can often win the game. And it's not that hard to get that. But it wasn't like the be all end all that I wanted, which is why the Tri-Beams and the Aphelios were nice because it's like a value engine. They burn removal on your Sump Worker, you slam Aphelios, eventually you Tri-Beam them. Like that was pretty good. But this brings me to my pick of the day 2, day 3 deck. Zoe Vi has been
Zoe Vi.
absolutely tearing it up.
It's like Ruben Pyle.
It's like Ruben Pyle. Yep. It's done very, very well on ladder recently.
What
And
makes it so good?
Well, Zoe, duh, right?
Okay, really check.
Vi right now is kind of insane. Deals with Thresh, deals with Irelia, deals with Azir, like just kills everything, is a huge threat on her own. Zoe's obviously very good. And the PNZ removal, remember we were talking earlier about how we just really wanted to be playing Mystic Shot? This was last season. But now with Irelia, I want to be playing Mystic Shot even more.
Yeah.
Like I just like Mystic Shot right now. It's just really good. So you get to play Mystic Shot, you get to play Thermo Beam, you get to play Get Excited, you can play Ballistic Bot. You can go the Cheerian route if you really want to, but that doesn't seem to be the main main way to play the deck. The Cheerian Sump Worker.
Oh,
the 2 mana cards or something.
Yeah.
You could do that with the iteratives, but it's not really.
I know it as Sump Worker / Posse. Those are the words that I use to describe it.
That's fair. And so, like, yeah, the deck's just like a value pile, so I would call it Ruben Pile. Speaking of, Ruben Zoo, currently rank 1 on the America's leaderboard. Yeah.
Sick. Playing that deck or like playing his normal like
playing Ruben Pile, but it's very close. I believe the Zoe Vi list still runs like it runs the Ballistic Bots, it runs the Subpercible, it runs a couple of copies of Star Shaping, it runs the Fangs, runs Spacey Sketcher. Like it's just a very flexible, strong deck. It's like kind of what Targon Pile was, right? It's just like it has a lot of flexible answers to things. Its threats are pretty good, and it can like maneuver to play different roles in different matchups. And yeah, I think this deck is going to come out and be a mainstay in the meta. I think it's quite strong.
Damn, yeah, because it did pretty good at the end of last season, going into seasonals. Some people had success with it in seasonals in the open, end of the top 32. I like the last like week or so, I tried like figuring it out, and I was just like, I didn't know how this worked. Like the deck, like you say, it can play so many different roles. It takes a lot of experience to figure out, what you're supposed to be doing when and how to maneuver the game towards a win. But yeah, it sounds like this continued success is like, it's undeniable now. And so I'll have to put in some time. If anyone's listening, also highly suggest you do the same. Put in some time, figure the deck out, because I think it's probably going to be paying dividends for quite some time.
Yeah. A lot of different lists floating around right now, but the core seems to remain pretty much the same. It's pretty strong. It's pretty strong. And with seasonals 6 weeks away.
6 weeks.
6 weeks. We have no time. We often talk about how we want 1 week of just scrimming when we already know what we're going to be playing. That leaves us like 5 weeks. We have to take 1 week just to figure out what the new cards even do. That's what we're currently on. That leaves us 4 weeks. We have to spend a week to week at the end of seasonals. That's another week. And then we have 3 weeks. We have 3 weeks to get into top masters, secure a top 30 spot or whatever, and then figure out what we want to play for seasonals.
Yeah, there will also be a balance patch, probably in 2 to 4 weeks.
2 weeks, huh?
Yeah. We might.
Weeks, yeah.
We might not see anything, but
I don't think we'll see anything. But we could. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Which could shake it up even more. 6 weeks is just not a lot of time at all. For reference, Nasus Thresh took like 4 weeks to show up.
I mean, it showed up, but then it had to be polished. It showed up,
and then
the meta also changed, I think, a decent amount where it became a lot better.
I agree. And it got polished and we figured it out. But like, what if in 3-4 weeks, like we figure out the Zilean deck, right? I mean, unlikely, but what if it happens? Then all of a sudden everything changes again.
Yeah.
And we're 2 weeks from seasonals. And we're like, oh no, what now, right?
Honestly, though, I know a lot of people are like, oh no, 6 weeks. I'm on the other side of that camp, though. I am fucking happy that I have to wait another 2 full months to play in seasonals. I want more seasonal tournaments. I want them like, I do 4 weeks. I don't care. Give it to me.
I would do it. Yeah, I mean, I would do it.
I would do it every month, whatever. Like take a week off. start on week 2. Get your feet wet. On week 3, go hard. Figure out what you want to play. On week 4, like polish it, and then go into a seasonals, and then take a week off. I would be down for that.
I just want more higher stakes, higher profile tournaments.
Speaking of
which,
next
we
weekend
have our own high stakes, high profile tournament coming up next weekend. Another $1,000 Mastering Runeterra tournament coming for you guys. Do you want to talk to them about it?
The last of the cross shards. For anyone that doesn't know, we get this question a lot. The turning off of cross shard friend challenges is at the beginning of June, and our tournament is next weekend, obviously in May. So you will be able to play no matter what region you're in. And it's gonna be one of the last ones. As I guess we should talk about that a little bit. But yeah, same thing. Come sign up with the Mastering Runeterra Patreon. And that will get you a code eventually when I send them out all to people. Be patient. And it'll be on Battlefy, and it'll be not like this weekend, not tomorrow. It is the 15th and 16th. Day 1 is 15th, day 2 is 16th. $1,000, it's $2 sign up is the lowest tier. Sign up for any of the tiers over on our Patreon. And then that's it.
Streaming the tournament as before.
Out in Bays.
On Bays very Twitch. Well last time.
Yeah,
people liked it a lot. We're pulling a lot of viewers. I think by the end we almost had 1,000.
Yep,
1,000 active viewers on Twitch. Pretty insane.
Very exciting to watch.
The people want tournaments.
Yes,
we have to give the people what they want.
I know we're trying, but now cross shard is gone.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? You have like just one region tournaments, like a lot less exciting. Yeah. The competitive community is a little bit fragmented, a little bit smaller. There's a lot going on in Brazil. There's a lot going on in Asia. We got some in North America. There's some in Europe. But like when you bring us all together, we had 160 people in the last tournament. Pretty solid showing for our first tournament ever.
First tournament, yeah.
Apparently it's one of the first entry fee tournaments. Also, most of them are.
That's what I heard.
Free.
Yeah. But our prize pool was $1,000, so easy, worth it. I mean, if you do the math, right? Like, our lowest Patreon tier is $2. Tournament prize pool's on $1,000. We had 160 signups. Like, do the math, figure it out. We planned this to come out of pocket because we wanted to do something cool for the community. We are players. We know players want tournaments, big tournaments, not just these dinky little community tournaments where you get $20 when you win. We want tournaments that like matter, right? We want tournaments that when you win it, it's like a big deal. And so we decided to make it. And it's unfortunate that we can't do more going forward after this one for now because of the cross shard changes. But we're going to definitely be looking out for more ways we can do things like that. Also, Ryan, give me more big tournaments, please.
Yeah.
I know you just told us about Worlds, but I need more.
We're insatiable. Yeah. What I really want to see is like a tournament series. I hope that they fix the cross shard thing. I hope it doesn't go on too long. I'd love to see, but we want like a tour, right? I want to see like a big money tournament every month. That would be like the dream. If we got seasonals every month, I put a poll out though. A lot of people are not down for that. But like, even if it's a tournament like ours, like in Magic, they have like Star City Games, Channel Fireball, they run the tournament series. And that's kind of what we were trying to work our way towards somehow, if we could, at least like get that ball rolling. But yeah, this crossroad thing, I don't know what to think about it. The dagger for me, like, I understand they have to do it. Obviously they know, they're not like in the dark, like, oh, hey, people wanted cross shard stuff. Didn't realize. Like, no, they know it's a big deal, and I assume that they're not doing this lightly, and that they have good reason. But the thing that really kind of got my goat was like in the announcement, they didn't say anything about like, is it coming back ever? Because like they've taken it down before, but they're like, it's just gonna be a little bit. We're gonna do some stuff and they'll put it back up. And this time they're just like, yeah, we're gonna give you guys a heads up. It's like a month away, and sorry, and that was it.
Yes,
I'm like,
it seemed like it's permanently gone, while in its current iteration. Um, they may be working on other things. I think that's kind of the message I got from it, is that like, hey, we're looking at other avenues, yada yada. This is just taking up too much computing power or whatever. I don't know how computers work, but that's kind of what they said. And so
seems to run on some kind of electricity. You're not wrong.
So yeah, hopefully we see it come back, because this is a huge blow to like the grassroots tournament scene. Like,
yeah,
if we can't have multiple regions playing together, not like the competitive scene isn't that big. We're not getting 200-person tournaments in just Americas as it stands, unless it's a well-funded, well-advertised tournament, right? And as much as I'd love to see that, I think this is going to make kind of a bit of a void in our current Runeterra competitive scene. Now you have seasonals and you have worlds, and that is it. And Fight Night, I guess, if you can get an invite to that. Also, I'll be on Fight Night tonight right after this. It'll probably be live when this goes live. But like, yeah, we have Fight Night, which is like 8-man invitational only. It's cool, but it's kind of more like a showcase. So what, like, how are we gonna fill that gap?
What?
Like,
here's a bigger question. Sorry to interrupt you, but like, why do we even have shards?
Server stuff. I think it's a lot more.
Magic Arena's way bigger. They don't have shards.
That's a really good point.
Magic Online.
Magic Arena probably has 10x to players.
No shards.
Maybe. I made that number up off the top of my head.
It's like it's like if you were playing like, I don't know, Poker Stars, and you were just like, okay, making shards, which I guess they did legality wise after a while, but not originally, right? It was the whole world played together, because lag isn't an issue, right? You have to like,
it's card game.
Card game. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only thing that like someone told me like, okay, tournaments. I'm like, okay, sure, but like you could just have like, you could still just be part of a shard, and then just like
and then just have ranked matchmaking and everything, include everybody.
Yeah. I think it's probably too late to go back now. I think they just like did it this way.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how Riot does things too. Like, because of League, and their other games are like, the ping matters a lot. So maybe they just already have that kind of infrastructure in place, and they just chose to use that. And then I don't know, maybe now 6 months into the game or whatever, they're like, like, really wish we could change this. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough. Like I said, I don't know anything about computers, so I don't know enough about this to really.
Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Hopefully we get something else. Other stuff this month though. Skins. Skins are coming.
Skins. Yes.
I hope those crush.
The roadmap said May skins, champion skins, along with the new event, the event pass. I think it's probably going to be Ruination. I don't play League, but that was like the League event was Ruination. It's like very Shadow Isle-y type theme. So, I've said this multiple times, but if they put alternate level of animations with their skins, I will spend so much money.
I'll buy them all.
Buy them all. If they don't, maybe I'll buy one or two.
It depends. We'll see what it ends up looking like.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like, I have a lot of faith in Riot and their cosmetic teams and everything, because they've done really good in all their other games. I mean, Prismatic kind of sucked, but
yeah.
So hoping it's less of that and more really cool.
And so I feel so bad for ragging on anything that they do that's not positive, because they crush so much. We don't talk about all the things.
Everything's like so good, and then over here I'm like, Prismatic suck, guys.
This is one thing.
Ugly. Yeah, like, but I love the rest of it, right? And like, Prismatics it doesn't affect me. I just don't make them.
Yeah.
Or I think once they like changed the bug with the sound, I like crafted like Zoe, because that Zoe's.
There was a sound. There was a bug with the sound.
Yeah, you lowering the game effect sound didn't change the prismatic sound. It was always maxed out. So I had my master volume for the game at like 50, but the prismatic sound was like all the way up. So if I like did anything with a prismatic card, it was like it did like the shing or whatever, like really loud, and it was unplayable. It was like so obnoxious. So I tried not to prismatic the cards I liked, even in my prismatic chest.
Speaking about bugs, we got a lot from this patch. Hey, visual
Oh yeah,
bugs
visual bugs.
everywhere. So
Yep.
lots of stuff getting pumped up, like the
And
student.
then going down. Sparring Student and Azir specifically, I'm seeing a lot. I think it's with the blades,
Yeah,
because that's like the new thing. But double check your eyes, not your eyes, but like the eye, right? Like hover over the eye in combat, and it'll tell you the real damage that's going to go through. And if you're not sure, hover over like Sparring Student or whatever, and it will say like +2/+2 this turn, even though it says it's only a 2/2. Then you know it's a 3/3. That's a very common one I see. And Azir,
yeah,
leveled Azir having one less power than he should. They actually have the stats they're supposed to, but visually it does not represent that. So make sure you check.
yeah. Have you seen any bugs outside of those ones?
I think there was like one or two, but I can't remember what they were, and they weren't like a big deal at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, nothing crazy. Like it's not game breaking, right? As long as you're like paying attention, it's not a problem. But it's gonna get a lot of people.
I got
So
got. I got by it once.
you got. Yeah,
Yeah,
I checked. I checked. I was like, wait a second. Like hovered. I was like, that's not right. And it is kind of tough to keep track of, especially with the Azir Irelia deck, because like power goes up and down so much with like leveled Azir, inspiring marshal, sparring
yeah.
student.
I
Like
I,
the
I
powers
wasn't
like don't align
sure. I
everywhere.
wasn't sure if I was missing something or like because I
Mm,
could see it. I figured it out, but I was like, "What's?" I didn't know what was actually going to happen. So I was like, "For
yeah.
science."
hmm Yeah, I get you. So yeah, keep an eye out for those visual bugs. They might get you. Um, I like this little expansion,
I like it a lot.
bringing it back around. I've enjoyed it so far. It's possible that opinion changes in a couple weeks, but I doubt it. I've enjoyed it. The new cards are cool and interesting, and even though some of them are really bad, looking at you, Malphite, um, they're like Aurelia is really cool and brings a part of Ionia into like competitive play that we didn't really get to see. Like Irelia Azir feels pretty Ionia. You have a lot of recalling stuff. You're moving things around in combat. You're like tricky, right?
Yeah,
Um, whereas like the only playable Ionia deck was like Lee, which also feels pretty Ionia, but it's the only one.
yeah.
Like that's kind of annoying. So having
Well,
another, yeah, having another like way to play the region
what
is
about
very nice.
Lulu?
I actually don't like support as a mechanic. I think it's like
Yeah, I don't
kind of
really
bland.
either. I don't love it.
It's kind of boring.
It's either too good or not good enough.
Exactly. That's the
There's no
problem
middle.
with
There's no middle ground.
support. Yeah. It either like encourages non-interactive gameplay where you just play your things on curve and just smash your opponent, or it's not competitive enough. Those are the only two options. It's really hard to balance it. You have cool cards like Mentor of Stones, which are played in non-support decks, and I think that's kind of where you have to go with support cards. Um, like if the support card, like if the support archetype is too good, it's going to be the best deck. It's not going to be close, and it's going to be very non-fun. It's kind of like Karma. As much as I wish you could, you can't really buff Karma because if the meta is dominated by Karma, it promotes like really non-interactive like styles of play, and it's just non-fun. It's fun for me, but like a lot of other people really wouldn't like it. I think it'd be bad for the game. So same thing with like support or these like go wide bannerman strategies. You can't have them be super good, or they're going to be the best thing in the game, and it feels so bad for
Yeah,
that to be the best thing in the game.
totally. Speaking of the best things in the game, why don't we talk a little bit about the metagame and like the things that were the best thing before the release and how they're all doing? Because things have been shaking up quite a bit, and maybe we'll after that we'll talk a little bit about like what we think people should be laddering with, what some good options are. Um, so let's start with TLC. So TLC, we were talking about, was kind of like the best deck coming before the release. Didn't get any nerfs. We were kind of like, thought it should have had a little something maybe.
That's something.
And what are you thinking of TLC now in this new meta?
Okay, so 2 days ago, on the release day, I would not touch TLC with a 10-foot pole. Aurelia was everywhere, and if you thought the Lucian Azir matchup was bad. You got like, you're gonna really hate this. The Irelia Azir matchup was unwinnable for TLC. Unwinnable.
Surprisingly, yeah, because like you would think that a deck full of like AOE removal would be good against a deck that makes a bunch of little 1/1 dorks.
Sure. The problem though is that you cast your AOE removal and maybe you even kill my Irelia, right? With your Avalanche. But I'm attacking you 3 times this turn, and I don't even need a champion to do it. And that's the problem. Before, if you could kill Lucian, you could like kind of curb the rallying effects. But now with Irelia and Blade Dance as a mechanic, like Azir is really hard for TLC to kill anyway. And Azir pumps the soldiers and stuff, and you have Deus and like, if you have double Deus Azir on the field, all of a sudden Blade Dance 1 represents like 10 damage. Like it's insane. So the deck really can't keep up. But Irelia Azir is on the downfall, as we all kind of predicted. It came out strong day 1. People are now looking to counter it. Some decks are just good against it too. Like Nasus Thresh is at least even, probably a little favored, maybe a little itty bitty bit. And so now TLC is starting to come back a little bit. The other big daddy deck was Nasus Thresh, like I just mentioned. It did get nerfed. Saw 2 nerfs. Blighted Caretaker is now a 1/1, and Atrocity is 7 mana, which are negligible nerfs. These are real nerfs. Atrocity at 7 is huge, and Blighted Caretaker being a 1/1 really slows the extraordinarily explosive Shadow Isles sacrifice start. But Nasus Thresh is strong. It's still a very good deck. However, the Zoe Vi deck, I think, does quite well into it. Vi just naturally lines up very good into Thresh, and the deck plays Hush. So, yeah, I think that deck lines up well. Thresh Nasus, if you're looking to climb, still a good deck. Still very strong. Irelia Azir right now, still a very good deck to climb with. TLC, maybe give it another couple days. Let's see where it shakes up. TLC is, I think, a little too polarizing to just recommend out the gate as a laddering deck.
Yeah, interesting. I thought it was going to be the go-to. I didn't think things were going to change that much, and I thought it would just be but I struggled with it and just put it back down.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people have some success with Overwhelm, because that's good against the Lucian Azir deck, because you just can't block well, and you put them dead usually before they put you dead, and you can block their Sand Soldiers like forever because your dudes are huge. You have access to things like Troll Chant. So Overwhelm I see doing quite well. Another reason why TLC is not doing very good. The Irelia Azir counters are also like the decks that beat TLC.
Yeah, it's funny how that works.
So yeah, outside of maybe like Nasus Thresh, which I don't think is as big of a counter as everyone is making it out to be. Maybe it's like, I think it's like even, maybe slightly favored. That's about it. It will be nice to have some competitive play and see where that goes. So
yeah,
Fight Night tonight. Excuse me. Fight Night tonight. People are going to be bringing a lot of the new decks. I'm personally bringing Ezreal Draven and Azir Irelia. And then next weekend, I think there's some tournament or something, some small grassroots thing.
Little 4-figure run by idiots.
Yeah, just two dum-dums who have no idea what they're doing.
Beautiful dum-dums.
Next weekend. If you're looking to see what's going to dominate this next season, that's where I would look. That is going to define the tournament meta, as it were, for a while. People are really going to be looking to this tournament to see what's really good, what's just kind of a fad. Is Irelia Azir really that good in a tournament setting? Can it hold up? That's going to be a place to find out. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, Sam, like it did a really good job, I guess, of showing us, weeding out the wheat from the chaff, if you will. The last tournament before seasonals was absolutely dominated by TLC and Thresh. Shocker. Seasonals Open was absolutely dominated by TLC and Thresh. Lord Vaughn's list that took it down, TLC, Thresh Nasus, and Lee Sin Zoe. Fantastic list. Lots of people did very well.
4 most represented decks in top 32, going into top 32, right? From the Open, people in the Open who qualify for top 32. Most popular deck was Thresh Nasus, then it was TLC, then it was like Asol Piles, and then it was Zoe Lee, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much showed everyone, and that was like the breakout weekend for Nasus Thresh. it had really like been tearing up ladder only a couple days before that. And then we were like, I wonder if people are going to catch on to Nasus Thresh being good. And then like, boom, it just ran through that tournament. So I expect to see something kind of similar. I expect to see the meta kind of be all over the place. And then I think the tournament meta will kind of solidify around that tournament.
Yeah. How do you go about building? Also, real quick, I want to throw in Noxious Aggro has done decently well for me on the ladder. Highly recommend. Games are very fast. The deck is fun. Hits hard. I used it to climb through up to Diamond. So take a look. Though I don't know where it's at currently. If Irelia is the deck, if you're running to a lot of Irelia, I find that matchup to be pretty solid. Good to overwhelm as well. How do you? Let's talk a little bit about going in, like the tournament's a week away. There's tournaments this weekend as well. How would you build a lineup now that Irelia is a thing? Like, because things change a lot from the ladder to a tournament. All of a sudden, now there's bans in place. Now you have to have 3 different decks that you don't want to have glaring weaknesses on. I hadn't really thought about this at all. Have you given some thought to this? I mean, you're playing Fight Night tonight, so you've given a little thought to it. Different format.
A little bit of thought, but Fight Night's format is different. If you guys aren't aware, you only bring 2 decks, and there is no ban. It's still the Conquest format where you have to like win with both your decks, but the no ban really throws the tournament format off. So I don't have to think about like crafting a lineup with a plan in mind or whatever, right? I'm just going to bring 2 decks I think are good and then like play them. But yeah, Irelia Azir is like, it's here. We don't know if it's here to stay, but it's certainly here. And it's making its mark on ladder and the meta thereof. But we just don't know if it's going to be a flash in the pan or if it's really, really a deck that like can go the distance. I think if I had to show up to a tournament tomorrow, I would probably start with Nasus Thresh. I think that would be, boom, linchpin of my lineup, Nasus Thresh. Good into almost everything. Then the question is, what do I want to do with the rest of my lineup? Like, is there a deck I'm looking to target? Or do I want to just be not weak? And I think just being not weak to things is like probably a good idea. I would probably look into the direction of maybe Zoe Vi, Draven Ezreal. And I would probably play Irelia Azir. 1, because I think it's powerful, and 2, because I really like it. It's just really fun to play. And yeah, so I would probably start with Nasus Thresh. I think it's still kind of the deck.
Yeah, fair enough. And then would you also be like targeting other Thrash's Nest players?
Thrash's Nasus? Probably
Thrash's
not.
Nest.
The only targeting I would do is like maybe a slight like inching of my deck list towards being favored in that matchup. So, for instance, the 3 copies of Homecoming and Irelia Azir that I run, that's what I mean. Like, that's very good in that matchup. Maybe I'd run Zoe Vi and I'd run a 3rd copy of Hush, something like that, right? I might not be coming out the gate going, all right, Nasus, it's your time. Like, come catch these hands, bro. But I certainly have it in mind. I'm not leaving my house without 3 decks that can beat a majority of the time, or at least 50% of the time, Thresh Nasus. When constructing your lineup at this current moment, I would make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Man, it's gonna be interesting. This is the first time we've run a tournament after like a new set release, and it's just gonna be like, everything's gonna be up in the air. There's gonna be all kinds of like room for creativity. Man, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to casting it and just seeing what people bring. Because there's still lots of unexplored room,
Yeah. I'm just looking forward to Runeterra. Like, once we get off this, I'm going to play Runeterra. And then after that, I'm going to play Fight Night. And you know what I'm going to do after Fight Night? I'm probably going to play more ladder. I'm just excited about Runeterra right now.
Yeah.
The game's in a fun spot. The format's wide open. New expansion. There was only 50 cards or something added to the game?
Yeah, not many.
It shook it up, right? And that's awesome. And yeah, so excited to see where this meta goes. Excited to see where the game goes in general. So yeah, just a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff this week, except Cross Shard. That's bad, but everything else is good.
Yeah, everything else is good, and I'm the same. Like, I'm really looking forward to laddering this season too because it means so much now, right? Qualifying for Worlds, big. qualifying for the chance to go 7-2 at seasonals and actually make top 32. Huge. So yeah, it was like 2 a.m. last night, and I was like, I'm just gonna play like a little bit more in bed on my phone. And I was like, you know what? I need to go to sleep. I need to just fucking put this down and go to sleep. But that's where I'm at with it. Also, I just I want to play all the time. So I can't play enough. But I already play like so much, which is like, what? I've rarely had that in a game. Like early days when I was young and I started playing Magic when I was like a kid. I was like, I just all I wanted to do is just play Magic all day long.
That's what I was like for Magic as well.
That wore off.
Yeah. What gets me is like I stream for like 6 hours and then I get off and I'm like, all right, I need to wind down. So I make myself a nice Moscow Mule and I load up Runeterra.
Yeah, right? That's chill time. A drink and Runeterra. Rather than like chat and Runeterra.
Music on my other monitor that I can't listen to on stream. No chat yelling at me that Malphite's actually good.
How good's Malphite? Tell me.
How good's Malphite?
Poor Malphite.
Tell me, please. What's the best Malphite deck, Bay?
Is Malphite Chip's dad? Is Chip's like Malphite's son or something?
I don't know if it's his.
Like a chip off the old block?
Chip off the old block, yeah. I don't know if I don't even know if they can be genetically related, but he's a father figure to Chip at least.
Okay.
That's what I'm picking up.
Chip is adorable, by the way. The little avatar.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But you know what? Like he's got his little like ladybug friend, and then it flies away at the beginning, and then he like looks for it, and then he looks sad, and every time it breaks my heart. Just the beginning of every game, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
That reminds me of Fizz. So I fucking hate Fizz. I hate Fizz in Runeterra, and I literally ban Fizz in every single game of League of Legends I play. I hate him.
Okay.
But when you kill some of his friends in Runeterra and he goes, come back, you guys. I almost cried, man. It makes me so sad. I'm like, I'm sorry.
They've done a good job though. It evokes such a emotional response out of you. It's just like a video game that you're like, it's literally just a game. But you're like, you feel so much for it. God, the game's good. Game's so good. For the first 2 months.
They can do so many cool things with skins. So many things.
I don't want to get my hopes up though. Like, what if it's prismatic all over again?
Yeah. What if it's just like literally an alternate art, like JPEG or whatever, pasted on the card? I'll be like,
yeah. Could that be it? Is that it? Just like a different picture?
Could be. But even if it is, I don't think we should get like upset about it, because the way League of Legends does it is they have skins in different like tiers. So they have skins that are pretty much just like a recoloring, where it's like maybe a little bit different theme, and those don't cost very much. And then they have skins all the way up to like where all the voice lines are changed, their walk animations are changed, everything's changed. There's one skin where like it's like for Lux, and through the game you gain like experience for the skin, and then when you get to certain points you like can level up the skin, and you pick an element, and then you level up again and you pick another element, and like the element completely changes how all of her abilities look and how she looks. Like you pick fire and all of a sudden she's got like a red dress and her hair is on fire and her beams look like fireballs. And then you pick like grass to go with it the next time, and she's like a magma mage or something like that. And it's like really cool.
That's pretty sick.
And those cost a lot more. And so, we could see something like that in Runeterra, where it's like tiered. They just start out with like the cheap ones, and just kind of like alternate arts. And then maybe they go, hey, we have a fantastic idea for this Lee Sin skin, right? And then boom, it's like $20 or whatever. But I'd pay that shit every time.
Get him slam dunking stuff, or being a Muay Thai fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Darius, the Dunk Master Darius, where he rocks around with the basketball hoop and he bounces a basketball.
So excited. Oh yeah, it's Darius. That's right. Yeah, so I'm so excited for that as well. Man, there's so much good stuff. The game is so good. Like the game is so good. Yep. It's we're like wrapping up here. We're coming to like an hour and stuff, but like, what do you think they need to do to like? Well, it's funny. We'll have to talk about how like not a lot of people are streaming or watching streams of the game, and part of the reason is that everyone's playing it because like you can just afford. You just afford to play it.
I actually think that's like half the reason the Twitch numbers are so bad. I say bad, but like they're not like the worst thing ever, right? It's just compared to like Hearthstone and Magic, they're lower. And I think the reason is because when I would watch a streamer or a YouTuber play a deck, it's because I want to see this deck that I don't have that I might want to build. But now everything's free, so you can just build everything. So I like don't have to watch someone play it. I just go play it. Like I just craft the deck and I just go play it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like the game has a lot of people playing, like quite a lot. There was what, like almost 3,000 people, maybe even more, in Masters just in the Americas shard last season.
Oh, was it that many?
Yeah, it's like a lot.
That's a
And
lot.
the majority of players are, iron, bronze, silver, gold. Like that's where the vast majority of players are.
Yeah.
They're casual players, right? And so I think the game's like doing pretty well. But yeah, the Twitch numbers are like kind of low, and I think that's a big reason. Uh, Obviously, I would like to see the Twitch numbers grow because it'd be very good for both of us as Twitch streamers
It's
of the
okay.
game. Yeah, I think in order for that to happen, you need to field a more competitive environment. Seasonals and Worlds is great. We said Seasonals was a good start, and I totally agree. Worlds, great step in the right direction. Now we need something else. One more thing. Give me some kind of league.
Yeah, that's what I want to see after
Right.
Worlds. Because it seems like we're there, right? We've got seasonals, we've got Worlds, we've got qualifying ways, and it's all kind of tied together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bump it up one more notch, and then tie it all into the nice one nice system.
Tie it all together, and we'll be there. Like we currently have that anyone can make it to the big leagues right now, right? We have seasonals, which is literally open tournament. All you have to do is hit a certain rank. You can make it all the way up to top 32. Then you can make it to Worlds from there. And anyone can make it from anything. And that's awesome. But now, if you want to push your game on things like Twitch, which I don't even know if Riot cares about, but if you want to push your game on things like Twitch, if you want people who play the game to be actual like names in the community, not just like a couple of them, then you need to have a tournament series or something like it where we're consistently seeing the same people. I think it's very important that you have a way for nobodies to make it into the big tournaments, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have people like me. But I think you also want to be pushing your personalities, pushing your like players, right? I think the MPL, the Magic Pro League, was a good example of this. You had auto invites to Pro Tours for these people who have proven that they're the best of the best. And so you would constantly see them. And not only is that good for the players themselves, obviously, it's good for viewers because I would watch the Pro Tours because I always had people to root for. I knew like a lot of people that were going to be in that Pro Tour, and I could always root for PVDR. I could always root for LSV. I could always root for my favorites. And it's also very good. This is another thing that like most people who play the game don't ever have to worry about. This is also a very good way to get sponsors and esports organizations into the game. If they can guarantee that their player they sign is going to be in all these high-profile tournaments, you attract a lot more attention from that angle, which brings more sponsors, possibly more viewers. And so I would really like to see something like that.
Yeah. Bigger tournaments, lots of bigger tournaments, a league. That's like the dream. And it feels like
we're almost there. We have 2/3.
Yeah,
we're really close.
And the game's very young still. It's only a year old, and so yeah, the future's bright. It's just gonna be like, I mean, look at the last few months, and then like look at what's coming in the next 5 months.
6 months ago.
Yeah,
it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, so
we've come a long way.
Things are going well. I'm excited for the future.
I have high hopes.
All right, well, that's all of it for us today. Thank you guys so much. See you guys next Friday on the ladder. Good luck in Fight Night tonight, Bay. Go crush them, represent.
Yep.
I will see you guys next week
on my Twitch. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Mastering Runeterra podcast with Jay and Bay. New episodes come out every Friday. If you haven't done so already, be sure to join us on Discord, check out the Patreon team, and have a look at our deck database on Twitter at Master Runeterra. Links to all of these can be found in the show notes and description.